Bruce DelValle, who's a constitutional law expert from Washington, D.C. Bruce, really good to see you. We wanted to kind of pick through some of what Donald Trump had to say earlier today during that long trademark press conference, one of many that we're likely to see over the next 4 years, starting with what he said about NATO and 5% spending for each of the NATO member countries. That's going to stress out a lot of NATO members around the world.
I think that's right. And that's a great question. But if we look at when NATO was formed and why NATO was formed, the original concept was not that the United States would bear the burden of paying for all of NATO 100%. It was going to be a shared defense. It's a treaty. Basically, we have to remember NATO is a treaty, and each of the treaty members are required to lend support and aid in defense of the other members. They are also, according to the NATO doctrines, they're required to pay their share. Now, the share is a portion and it's changed over the years, but I don't think, while it will stress them out, I don't think it should come as any surprise. I think for a long time in America, Americans have been wondering, why do we pay to defend the world when we come to the table with them at times and they're not really our friends? If they want to be part of this treaty, they need to pay to be part of the treaty. And that's really where President Trump is going. Now, it's all going to be subject to negotiations, but this has been a long-term issue in the United States. It may not have been that long in Europe, but it certainly is something that will not come as any surprise to any NATO members. They should have been paying their fair share all along, and they simply have not.
Yeah, well, I guess maybe you think that he's kind of tactics. This is tough talk, as he did previously, to get more members to pay more, and that this is part of that. He doesn't really expect them all to come up to 5%, but they might get up to 3 or even up to where they should be, which is 2.5.
Right, and that's exactly right. But also, they will get to the point where they need to be compliant with the terms of the treaty. They have to be better friends. They have to be better allies. And I think this is a talking point. It's sort of a tool to lever that cooperation and that mindset of cooperating. If NATO is really going to be real, and if NATO is going to continue to exist and be vital, all members of NATO have to be equally interested in what NATO is about. There is also a move afoot in America for a long time, for a number of decades, to simply abolish NATO. As a matter of fact, our founding fathers said that it was anathema for us to defend another nation. Some people think it's illegal, according to our founding documents. But nonetheless, here it is, and I think you're exactly right. It's a negotiation point, it's a push point, but it also is a way to get these nations, get the European nations on board to cooperate and to be better allies and better friends.
Yeah, and it's a familiar Trump tactic, and he spoke about so many things with a similar tactic, but sadly we've run out of time, so we're going to have to leave it there. But Bruce, really good to see you. Thank you, Bruce DelValle, constitutional expert from Washington,
I would hope we could talk about
DC.
Greenland.